This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami Camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. Just want to give a World War III update. As you see in front of your screen, Russia and China have pledged support for Venezuela as Nero, aka Donald Trump, and his Pirates of the Caribbean are ratcheting up more pressure on Maduro. All right. So you clearly see that World War III is literally kicking in the door. All right. We're in the beginning stages of World War III. All you got to do is look at, on a global scale, all right, the conflicts throughout the world. Look at the Middle East. America's involved in that conflict. Look at Ukraine. America's involved in that conflict. In fact, a Russian general was killed by a bomb under his car in Moscow. All right. And Russia is accusing the Ukrainian intelligence services for conducting this event. And who works hand in foot with the Ukrainian intelligence service? The CIA. Because I asked a question to ChatGPT. Is the CIA still providing Ukraine with intel against Russia? All right. It says, yes, historically and throughout most of Russia-Ukraine war, the U.S., including the CIA and other agencies, has long provided Ukraine with valuable intelligence, such as satellite imagery, targeting data, that's that general, warnings of Russian strikes, troop movements, and other battlefield information to help Ukraine defend itself and conduct operations against Russian forces. This cooperation has been a key part of Western support since the invasion began in 2022. Right. All right. So America's heavily involved in multiple conflicts throughout the world. All right. So World War III is here. Okay. And now you got this situation in Venezuela where Russia's backing Venezuela. And it makes sense. You know, Russia's like, look, you're in my backyard. I'm going in your backyard. And China is definitely backing Venezuela because Venezuela has an oil contract with China. Okay? So this is clearly all leading to eventually nuclear war. We're just in the beginning stages of World War III. You know, that's why we can confidently say that we're almost out of here. And that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, is coming quickly. All right, because before the nukes are launched, that chip has to be made mandatory. All right, but all you got to do is see what's going on in the world. All right, measure the time diligently in itself. Right, let's get that scripture. Measure the time, meaning look at what's going on in the world pertaining to prophecy. Right. 2nd Esdras chapter 9, verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I've told thee before, right? And who did he tell before? All right. Who did he provide the signs, the vision, the prophecies to? All right. His servants, the prophets, the Israelites. Okay. Who are Israelites? Okay. That's what I meant to say. All right, because the prophets are Israelites. They're the ones that were given the vision. All right. The book of Isaiah, the book of Revelation. John is an Israelite. Isaiah is an Israelite. Esdras is an Israelite. Okay? Jeremiah is an Israelite. Verse 2, then shall thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right, and these are the signs that we know Yahweh Shai is about to visit the world. Okay? All right? So, again, you got Russia and China pledging support for Venezuela as Trump ratchets up pressure on Maduro. Okay, we know why Trump is over there. He wants the oil. He wants the blue gold, that tantalum. All right, and that's why I got this this meme that I found on social media. You know, it's very fitting. America is literally a pirate in the Caribbean. Okay, using that so-called drug narrative as a smokescreen. They really want oil, and they also want the resources in Venezuela. That's why Trump, what did Trump say regarding Venezuela? What did Venezuela steal? Which is BS, because this all those resources on Venezuela territory. But this is what Trump said. Nero. Okay. What did Trump say regarding Venezuela stealing from America? Let's go to AI mode. Makes it easier. He'll pull up. Yep, here it is. In December 2025, President Donald Trump accused Venezuelan government of stealing American oil, land, and other assets, using these claims to justify a total naval blockade of sanctioned oil tankers. All right? And again, the oil that's being deployed from Venezuela is going to China. All right? Or was going to China. And this is where America is intervening. All right? And sacking the oil from China. That's why China's backing Venezuela. Okay, so again, World War III. And again, this is some nasty work that Trump can boldly say that this is American oil. All right. First of all, if that was the case, then your business deals with these foreign nations here in America, they could say, oh, this is ours now, right? Like, for example, China, let me show you something. You know, I don't want to... How much land does China own in the United States in 2025? As of 2024, mid-2020 reports, Chinese entities own around 350,000 to 380,000 acres of U.S. agriculture, representing less than 1% of all foreign-held land, though exact figures vary slightly by source of time frame, with major holdings by companies like Smithfield Foods, now Chinese-owned, and increasing concerns over national security impacting policy changes in 2025. Right. So China owns not only land, but the food supply. Okay? So that's like saying China could come in and say, you know, this is my shit. I'm taking this shit. All right? We own this. All right? Because that's essentially what you're saying with the whole Venezuela oil. All right? Even though it comes out of Venezuela land. So this is a BS narrative. What it is that America, if you understand what's going on in geopolitics, America doesn't want Russia and China in their backyard, okay? And America wants all the resources on this side, all right, to hedge against that war in the Middle East when Iran and them JJs lock horns. Because Iran will put a blockade on the oil supply all right, coming through the Suez Canal. All right. The Strait, not the Suez Canal, the Strait of Hormuz. All right. I just wanted to fact check this. Strait of Hormuz. There you go. All right. Yeah, the Suez Canal is over here. This is the Suez Canal is where we, the Israelites, walked what they call the Red Sea. Okay. But the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. And so America wants to make sure that they're getting a sufficient amount of oil supply from the Western Hemisphere. All right. So in the event Iran does block the Strait of Hormuz, all right, it doesn't affect them. Okay, it doesn't affect the economy. All right, because I think, okay, how much oil from the Middle East does America the U.S. gets a relatively small and declining amount of oil from the Middle East, with Canada and Mexico now supplying the vast majority of its imported crude. While Saudi Arabia and Iraq remain key but smaller suppliers, by 2024 to 2025, Middle Eastern imports were falling below 10% of total U.S. imports, significantly less than past decades due to increased U.S. domestic shale production. Right, so they want to lower this even more. Okay, they still get oil from Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Okay, but they want to minimize their exposure to the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so that's why they're like, all right, we gotta come up with another source, Venezuela. All right, because all right, let me ask Google AI this. Just bear with me. If America gets the oil in Venezuela, does it mitigate its dependency on Middle Eastern oil supply? Yes, if the U.S. gained access to Venezuela oil reserves, it would provide a long-term alternative supply source and could further mitigate its dependence on Middle Eastern oil. But several current factors will limit its immediate impact. Low dependency. The U.S. has already significantly reduced its reliance on Middle Eastern oil, primarily due to an increased domestic production, the shale revolution, and high imports from Canada. Right, but again, America and Canada don't see eye to eye for a lot of issues. Okay. And that's pursuant to NATO, the beast shall hate the whore. As of 2024-25 data, Saudi Arabia and Iraq together account for around 10% of U.S. crude imports, a historic low. Refinery needs. U.S. refineries, particularly on the Gulf Coast, are designed to process the heavy crude oil that Venezuela produces, create a market need that is currently met by other sources like Canada, Mexico, and some Middle Eastern producers. Right. So America will become get into that market as being able to be a U.S. Oil to refine oil. Okay. Venezuela possesses the world's largest proven oil reserves. Its proximity to the U.S. offers logistical advantages such as lower transportation costs and short delivery times compared to the Middle East. You see that? And again, America's in how much debt? All right. Venezuela oil industry is currently in disrepair due to years of mismanagement thanks to America, corruption, underinvestment, and U.S. sanctions thanks to America. Current production is a fraction of its historical peak, right? And this is why America wants to tap in. And also the blue gold, all right? That's another thing. But they're not talking much about it. They're only focused on oil. But the blue gold too, they want in Venezuela because China, okay, has cornered the market on the blue gold, on tantalum. All right, and I did it. I went into this before. Did China corner the market for blue gold, tantalum? This is it right here. This China does, however, hold a near monopoly on the processing and refining of many rare earth elements and other critical minerals such as gallium and germanium. The phrase blue gold is sometimes used coagulally in business and journals as a nickname for cobalt due to its critical role in the clean energy transition and the challenging mining conditions in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where China is the major player in large-scale mining operations. Yup. China is a major participant in the tantalum supply chain, but primarily has a large importer and consumer. It relied on imports for about 90% of its tantalum mineral needs at 2021. Again, China holds a big monopoly on processing and refining these rare earth elements. Okay, and they're the major what's it called? Uh, Owners of the mining operations in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this is the reason why America is focused on Venezuela. All right, they don't want China touching that blue gold because they need that blue gold, that tantalum. All right, so this is why America's there. Okay, the oil as well as that blue gold, tantalum. All right, so but it's all prophetic because this is leading to World War III. Revelation 16 and 12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared right. And the kings of the east, okay, they're prepared. This is why they're expanding out. They're going all the way to America's backyard. All right, they're supporting Iran. Okay, which Iran's part of the kings of the east. All right, but you know what I'm talking about is Russia and China. Okay, they're gonna back Iran when them JJs lock horns with Iran. Okay, you also have North Korea backing Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so but the point is keep World War III is here, and the kings of the East are prepared. All right, and of course the major conflict will be the Middle East. All right, it's not a coincidence that Donald Trump is now attacking so-called ISIS in Syria. All right, what's going on there? I thought they had that area controlled. Nope. All right, because the Arabs are being raised up. They're putting their differences aside. They're coming together. They're locked. They're linking up with Elam, which are the Persians. Okay, and then you got Russia and China backing them. Oh, don't forget, China is backing the Houthis. Let me see if there's any new reports on China backing the Houthis. Is China backing the Houthis? Yes. Significant evidence and intelligence reports suggest China provides crucial, often dual-use technology and material support to the Houthis in exchange for safe passage for its Red Sea shipping, enabling Houthi missile drone attacks while furthering Beijing's strategic aim against U.S. influence. Come on, man. We hear World War III. All right? This is, again, measured the time diligently in itself. Do you see how close we are to the nukes flying? That's how we know the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, is coming quickly. Hey, it's looking 2026. Oh, by the way, listen, check this out. All right? Hey, we are the watchmen. We had Great Millstone through the Spirit Power Yah Bashim Yah Shai. Check this out. I want to show y'all something. Russian An American treaty ends Feb 2025. The major U.S.-Russia treaty ending is the New START Treaty, the last nuclear arms pact, which officially expires on February 5th, 2026, after a 5-year extension by the Biden administration, though Russia's Putin offered a 1-year voluntary extension of limits in September 2025, which the U.S. hadn't formally accepted as of late 2025, raising concerns about a new nuclear arms race. Right. So, this is the last treaty on paper. Okay? Again, we're here. All right? World War III is literally singing. And people are acting like we're going to be here another 30, 40,000 years. You pseudo-Hebrew Israelites. Hey, we had Great Millstone through the Spirit and Power Yahweh Shem Shai. Brothers like me, we just bring out the facts, man. But a lot of y'all going to skip over this because you love this place. Okay? You love Babylon the Great. You love, getting up early in the morning, all right, and serving this devil. Okay? You love the alarm clocks going off. You love sitting in traffic. Okay? You love that shit. Pathetic. Anyway, Micah chapter 2 verse 1, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning's light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. Right. Clearly, if you look at what America is doing, all right, they are literally being a tyrant, all over the world, all right? They're the ones that are working iniquity on their bed, all right? Pirates of the Caribbean is America. 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, right? And they covet fields and take them by violence. Who wants to go into Venezuela and take the resources? America, Babylon the Great, which is ran and governed by these Edomites, the so-called white people. The Edomites are the so-called white people. There are no salvation. There is no salvation for the Edomites, the so-called white people. Those that survived the destruction, which is the Lord's judgment, they go into slavery. Facts. Facts. Nothing but facts. There is no righteous Edomite. The scriptures say, all right, that back to Habakkuk, back to the basics. Habakkuk 2. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul, meaning his spirit, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. Right. That's these Edomites. That's these so-called white people. They're not upright people. They are the wicked. They are crooked. They were made to be crooked. But the just shall live by faith, by his faith, right? And this is all, at the end of the day, this is all based upon faith. Faith in the words of Yahweh Shem Shai. Faith in his words, And not putting his words, all right, to an open shame, But a lot of you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites, you're ashamed of the words of the Lord, That's why you're changing up the doctrine while we're almost out of here. The destruction's coming. There is no getting out of this, This war is going to happen, is going down. Bear me one moment. So I'm going to finish off with this and close out. Back to Micah. Just get my spot. Micah chapter 2 verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man his heritage. Verse 3. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your decks, neither shall you go haughtily, for this time is evil. Right. Everything that America is doing is going to backfire. Okay. Their their arrogancy, their prompt, engaging in all these conflicts is going to put them in a situation where they can't get out of, and it's going to lead to their nuclear destruction. This is the NLT version, but this is what the Lord says: I will reward your evil with evil. You won't be able to pull your neck out of the noose. You will no longer walk around proudly, for it will be a terrible time. Right? Okay. So again, we're almost out of here. Clearly, man, everything's being set up for this World War III. This is a World War III update. We're just waiting on the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. Okay? And that's why you got to watch the financial system. Everything's changing to digital currency. Okay? I mean, Venezuela is conducting digital currency transactions with China. They call stable coins. Right? So you already see that everything's going digital. All right? And that's going to be another problem for America. All right? Because those that have been the people, well, here in America, that are so dependent on the American dollar, all right, you're going to feel it. Because the American dollar is dying. Okay? And you can thank your American leadership for weaponizing the American dollar. All right? You can thank your American leadership. So with that, I want to give all praises. And again, this is proof that we're almost out of here. All right? That's why you got to measure the time. So anybody that says 20, 30, 40, 1,000 years is not in the right spirit. Okay? Your spirit shouldn't be thinking like that. Your spirit should be, hastening on the coming of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. In the Apocrypha, it says, pray for fewer days. You know what? I'll end off with that. You know what? There's something wrong with this King James Bible online. I have to type it out. Where in the Apocrypha does it say pray for fewer days? Second Esdras, chapter 2, verse 13. Okay, so let's do this. Chapter 2, verse 13. Go and ye shall receive. Pray for few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom's already prepared for you. Watch, right? And that's, if you call yourself a prophet, you're supposed to be watching for these prophecies, because these prophecies need to happen so the kingdom could come. All right? And the kingdoms is for the Israelites. Okay? And you heathens are going to serve us. Okay? Which I don't understand why you're bitching and moaning about it. All right? If you claim to believe in God, if you claim to believe in the God of the Bible, all right, you should be grateful to serve God's chosen people. But see, what it is that you hate the so-called black and Hispanic and Native American man. You especially you Edomites, you so-called white people. You cannot fathom that we're the Lord's chosen people. Okay? You can't fathom that. All right? And that's why it's going to be fun to have you devils in slavery. Okay? It's going to be fun. We're going to have a fun time. All right? Administering corporal punishment. With that, I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it door. Keep the faith. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. We're almost out here. To the fuses that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, pray, cover. Shalom.